Welcome to Ideas Worth Sharing. Today we're going to be talking about from curiosity to the research question. My name is Pam Renfro. I am a curriculum specialist here at ABC-CLIO and looking forward to spending some time with you today. Typically when students start school, they're brimming with questions. I used to teach kindergarten and I spent my day answering questions. But sadly, somewhere along the way, students often lose their desire to know everything. And at times, it's very challenging for teachers and librarians to get their students to ask questions. So today, we're going to take a look at your ABC-CLIO databases and look at ways to reignite that curiosity. Specifically, we're going to look at inspiring wonder with primary sources and modeling questions with our ready-to-use activities and questions within our topic centers. So let's go into the databases and take a quick look. So I'm going into a pop culture universe first today, and we're going to look at a way that you might utilize using primary sources to spark curiosity or inspire wonder. I like to use this strategy where you use multiple primary sources, starting with an image, a simple image like this one. And I would probably just have students make observations. You use the see, think, wonder strategy where you just have students first making observations only about the picture, and then having them tell you, what they think might be happening, what time period they think it might be, looking at very specific details of the image, the newspaper headline in the lady's lap there, looking at clothing styles maybe to help determine time periods. And then I would have them create questions. What questions do you have? What do you wonder about this particular incident? Why is this photograph been taken? So using something simple like that, or you could use the wonderful analysis guides that we have in our Academic Success Corner. But either way, however you wanted to do that, I would then pair that with two additional primary sources that go along with that. These are all listed in the article, but I would not give the students the text information yet. I would just simply use these letters and primary sources. So again, themselves taking these letters, I like to really, I think students don't see letters very much anymore. So taking this letter, making some very simple observations, simple as who wrote it, who's it to, the date, all of these wonderful date stamps. Why was the letter stamped? And who stamped it, the time periods involved, and then looking at the letters. This very clearly states that it is a complaint letter. It's going sent from the city of Trenton, New Jersey, from Paul Morton, the city manager, to the Federal Communications Commission in Washington, D.C. This is a complaint about a broadcast. If we would read through this with the students, talking about the broadcast War of the Worlds, and how it completely crippled communication facilities in the police department for 3 hours. It talks about 2,000 phone calls received in 2 hours. So it's very clearly a complaint. What we could do with this letter is utilize, again, this analysis guide that we have in our Working with Primary Sources in the Academic Success Corner. It would be very helpful, I think, to have students go through these very specific steps about this letter. You'll notice that when we start with step one, these questions are very much what we would consider to be closed questions or foundational questions, where we're just getting the facts about who that wrote the letter, what was being said, why was it sent, that type of thing. And then when we move into go through these steps, when we get down toward step 4, where we're really looking at perspective, I think that really gets into some deeper questioning, some more open-ended questions. And so especially when you get down to question 5, why was this letter important to the people who wrote it? And then what connections can you make from this letter to politics? And talking about historical change over time. So we really get in then to some dig deeper questions and some more open-ended questions. So again, you could definitely utilize this, and I think it's very, very important then, after we have analyzed this letter, to move forward and look at an additional letter that was also received in the same time frame. This one actually came in on November the 1st, same letter going to the same institution, the Federal Communications Commission. And again, a very different perspective here on the setting. This was written that he was one. If we look at who wrote it, let's pop down. He's from South Dakota. He is in the State Administrative Office of South Dakota State Employment Service, and he states that every member of his staff subscribes to what he has to say here. So he is a representative of a group as he's written this letter. But I thought this was a very interesting perspective. It's quite different than the first letter, in that he was not one of the thousands of people who heard the program, and he was one of the thousands of people that heard the program. He did not jump out of the window. He did not attempt suicide. He did not break his arm while beating a hasty retreat from his apartment. He did not anticipate a horrible death. He did not hear the Martians rapping at his chamber door. He did not see monsters landing in a warlike regalia in the park across the street, but sat serenely entertained no end by the fine portrayal of a fine play. So 2 perspectives on the same event given to students in letter formats that are these primary source documents. I think this would really grab your students' attention and have them very interested in the topic and have them asking a lot of questions. Once they have gone through those activities, then of course it would be time for them to come in and actually read the article, the text, and find out, exactly some more foundational information about the actual broadcast, and if there's been any similar incidents later. And this really does talk to the power of mass media. So this was a good way to, again, inspire wonder using those primary sources. Now, we make it very easy for you to locate primary sources in all of our databases. You would do that coming in through the advanced search. You can clearly find that we have very differing types of primary sources: speeches, political documents, cultural documents, letters and narratives, newspapers and magazines, quotes. We have many video and audio primary sources, political cartoons and photographs. So these 2 areas would hold your primary sources. You can do advanced searching and find very specific types of resources that you would like. Also wanted to point out that those analysis guides that I alluded to earlier are found on every homepage in the Academic Success Corner in working with primary sources. So let's switch our databases. Now I'm going to switch into American government, and we're going to talk about how to utilize our topic centers to model questioning. And for that, we're going to use a topic center that is in the executive branch. Remember, there are 2 ways to find topic centers. You can do that by that advanced search and by selecting a topic center and searching, or you can do that by browsing the homepage, opening up the themes, and choosing. Each of these are considered to be topic centers. So you can choose, though, the one that you would like to take a look at. We're going to look at cabinet today. And I wanted to point out that in our databases, we do have key questions. And in American government, American history, and world history, you would find those key questions in topic essentials. You can also locate those in Educator Support. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. but you can find those key questions here. And you'll find a variety of types of questions here. Some of them may be very foundational type questions, information that are kind of a closed question, where you would be able to just answer quickly. Or you'll find, again, a variety. You'll find some of them that are a little more dig deeper type questions. I also want to point out that there are additional ways to model questioning would be in our inquiry activities. I think we do a really nice job of modeling questioning here, and often those are, again, scaffold for you. This question is what is the role of the president's cabinet? And we, of course, have those full text sets of information to help the students answer that question. You can see here in the worksheet that we are asking students to define. So it is a foundational skill. The question is a very closed type question. There's a correct answer. It's not going to take a lot of digging and speculating for students. They're going to be able to find that answer very easily. When we move to activity 2, we are asking for students to dig a little deeper. What cabinet post is the most important and why? Again, an additional, a very different type of text set here for students to answer that question. And here we're really asking students to dig deeper. We're going to be arguing. We're asking them to make a claim and to support that claim with clear evidence. And we do provide, in these worksheets, we provide a place for them to not only gather information, but to synthesize that information and answer the question. So a really good way to show students how to model really good questioning for them is going to be in our activities that you find within our topic centers. I also want to point you to a topic library where we have curated resources, and I think this is a place where you can take a lesson plan that we have for you in the Educator Support site, where we're asking students to use sources to guide their questions. So I think that using that topic library for that lesson would be a really good tool for you. Also, you could use some of our question stems and this topic library to help start students on their way to discovering how to really formulate good questions. Let's take a look at Educator Support. I want to show you another place that you can locate key questions for all of our databases. Again, I clicked on Educator Support. You will need educator credentials to get into that. Within any of our databases under curriculum resources, I'm going to choose American History. But if I choose my database under curriculum history and go into these resources here, I'm going to click on planning resources. And here you're going to see when I go to filter these key questions. So these are sets of questions that are available. There are 116 different sets of questions that you could use for some good modeling of questions for students. And here are those activities where you will find those topic center activities. So you can always search for those within the Educator Support site as well. I'm going to come to the home page and I want to show you where you can find those lesson plans and question stems. So under professional development, under teaching and learning, you're going to find under research and inquiry, because of course we're talking about curiosity to the research question. So under this section on research and inquiry, we've just recently added a new page. You'll need to go over to the little dots and choose questioning. And this page is chock full of wonderful resources for you on really working with students on questioning. There are webinars and activities here. asking questions with primary sources. So here is the lesson plan that I mentioned earlier on using sources to guide questions. I think you could take that topic library and utilize this lesson plan, or use these question starters to have students develop their own questions, have them do those our inquiry questions, then send them to that topic library to have them utilize that those question stems or that lesson plan to develop more questions to lead them to their own research topic. And lastly, I want to point you to this lesson here. It is an academic skill lesson. It corresponds with a video in the Academic Success Corner on finding your research topic. And I think that really brings us full circle. You've sparked curiosity with those primary sources, and now you have the opportunity to walk students through our topic centers using our key questions and utilizing our activities, and you can bring them then into really developing their own research topics, utilizing this wonderful lesson plan and video available to you again in the professional development page under research and inquiry. So I'd invite you to take a close look at all of those valuable resources that you have available. So again, today we've talked about inspiring wonder with primary sources, and we have talked about modeling questioning with our topic centers and provided you with some wonderful resources to utilize in your library or in your school classroom. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to either myself or Chris Bashforth or Paul Webb. If we can be of any assistance, please feel free to reach out. And thank you again for joining Ideas Worth Sharing.